This program is being provided by the 15 members of the Vancouver Educational Telecommunications Consortium, TV, etc.
Hi, I'm one of the Daves from Dave's Kitchen. Today we're going to tackle a classic Italian dish, polenta. So let's go try it out. What we've got here is polenta, ground up cornmeal basically. It's kind of coarse in texture. We want to cook it all the way so it's not grainy. I'm going to use some lobster stock with it today to go along with our salmon. You could, if you were doing a chicken dish or a duck dish or some kind of game dish, you could use chicken stock, or you could make a duck stock out of it and use that too. We've also got Parmesan cheese, lots of cheese. It makes it nice and flavorful. I'm using 2% milk because the cheese is so rich and the stock's rich, so I'm going to use some 2% milk. You could use heavy cream if you really wanted to indulge. We've got some butter, some chopped up garlic, some diced onion, and from the garden we've got a little thyme and a little marjoram. And we're going to start this dish off. I like to add a little bit of oil to my saute, and I'm just going to lightly saute this. I'm going to add a little bit of oil and a little bit of butter. Adding the oil and butter together, it helps so that the butter doesn't burn. Because when you're sauteing, if you have a really high heat and you add the butter without oil, the butter just usually burns and you end up burning everything. So you have to start over again. It's a lot easier this way. Once we get this melted down, we'll just swirl it around a little bit, get it coating the whole pan. We'll start out by adding our onions. I'm going to add the onions first. I'll move them around a little bit, coat them with the butter and the oil, get them going, get them heated up. And I'll let those saute for a little while. Then I'll add in my garlic and let it go for a little while. And that'll bring out the oil in the garlic and the flavor in the onions, and that'll add to our dish, so that'll be great. Our onions are coming along good, so now we're going to reach over. Well, it looks now like our garlic is going along good, so now we're going to add some garlic to it. We're just going to saute this garlic enough to bring the oil out of the garlic, so it shouldn't take long at all. You just grab this lobster stock. I'm just going to pour that right into there. We'll bring that up to a simmer, which is kind of like a little ripple above on the liquid that we have in the pan. And it's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to put my polenta in. Once I get it in, I'm just going to stir it around a little bit, mix it up. Now, the one thing about polenta is you have to cook it well. You don't want it gritty or grainy. You want to cook it all the way out, almost like a porridge. It's similar to a porridge, but you add it at night instead of having it in the morning. So it's good stuff. Brought in some herbs from my garden this morning, and we're putting the marjoram into the dish. And I'll show you this is the oregano right here that I grow, and it's a darker leaf with a little point. And this is the marjoram we're using today, which is a smaller, lighter green leaf with a curve to it, not as pointed. Well, it's starting to look good. Our polenta's getting cooked all the way, and it's time to add the rest of our ingredients. I think what we'll start with the Parmesan cheese. And I'm just going to add this over the whole top of it and spread it out. And I'll slowly stir that in so it all gets incorporated. You don't want to put it all in one pile, because if you put it all in one pile in the middle, it will tend to sink right to the bottom and then start burning on the bottom of the pan. You definitely don't want that. So we stir this around to incorporate it all. I'm going to grab a little bit of thyme here, put that in, a little bit of marjoram. Well, I'll add a little bit more. And I'm going to stir that in, get it all mixed up. That looks good. That looks really good. I'm going to add a little bit of milk to it, just a drop. Give it that nice creamy texture. That'll be really good for it. You know what? I have this leftover butter right here, and I like butter a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and dump the rest of that right in the dish. There we go. Now what I want to do is lower the heat a little bit more. And I'd like to cook it till it gets a little bit firm. Evaporate some more of that liquid. And what ends up happening is that liquid cooks into the polenta. And when the liquid cooks into the polenta, then all that flavor is introduced into the cornmeal. That's the way you want it. So we'll put the lid on this, cover it up, and let it cook for about another minute or two, and then we'll come back to it. Okay, now we're going to do a little plating of the polenta. I'm going to grab a little spoonful here, put it right into the middle of the plate. All that cheese helps it stay together. That looks great. I've got some fresh Parmesan cheese. I'll sprinkle some of that over the top. Little fresh chopped herbs from the garden. Oh, that looks really nice. Okay, here's the finished plated product. I'm Dave from Dave's Kitchen. Hope you try this at home.
This program is being provided by the 15 members of the Vancouver Educational Telecommunications Consortium, TV, etc.